No, actually. Budget tonight, too.
Let's get the meeting over with quick then.
Mary Pat?
And happy birthday to you again.
Everybody got quiet. It must be time to start. Good evening, everyone. It is December 5th, Monday evening, 6:30. It's time to begin the regular meeting of the Village Board for Wheeling. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Brady.
Trustee Vogel.
Here.
Trustee Papantos has told us that she will be late today, but she'll be here. Trustee Vito.
Here.
Trustee Lang.
Here.
Trustee Kruger.
Present.
Trustee Rufato.
Here.
President Horker.
Here, you have before you the minutes of the regular meeting of November 21st, 2022. I need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Vogel makes the motion. Trustee Kruger makes the second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Papantos. Excuse me, skip her. Trustee Vito.
Yes.
Trustee Lang.
Yes.
Trustee Kruger.
Yes.
Trustee Rufato.
Yes.
Trustee Vogel.
Yes.
President Horker.
Yes, any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes this evening.
All right. That brings us to arresting cancer check presentation. Officer Phil Kim, would you have a check to present to the American Cancer Society and representatives from ACS and the Bear Family Restaurant?
Yes, sir. Good evening. In 2018, we started the tradition of arresting cancer with the Bear Family's McDonald's, and to date, we have raised over $5,000 for the American Cancer Society. On October 25th, the Wheeling Police Department held our 5th annual Arresting Cancer event at the Dundee Road McDonald's in Wheeling. Together with the Bear Family Restaurants and the Citizens Patrol volunteers and a large contribution with the Wheeling Helping Hands, we raised $1,000 for the American Cancer Society. This time I would like to call out Marley Pikelny from the American Cancer Society, as well as Mr. David Bear, owner-operator of the Bear Family Restaurant, Nicole Buchanan, Vice President of Operations, and Griselda Sanchez, Director of Operations.
Good evening. My name is Marley Pikelny. I'm from the American Cancer Society. I want to thank the Wheeling Police Department and the Bear Family Restaurant Group for hosting this event since 2018. It's been a real pleasure working with them every fall on this event. Before Officer Kim, Officer Laverde helped organize this, so it's been a great event for the last few years. The American Cancer Society's mission is to save lives, celebrate lives, and to lead the fight for a world without cancer. So thank you to the Wheeling Police and the Bear Family Restaurants and everyone that attended the fundraiser at the end of October. Thank you.
So on behalf of the Bear family, Nicole Buchanan, my Vice President, Griselda Sanchez, our Director of Operations, and our employees here in the Wheeling Bear Family Restaurant locations, it's our pleasure and honor to donate $1,000 to the American Cancer Society. And had I known we were going to be recognizing our men and women in blue from the fire department, I probably would have come with a bunch of Shamrock Shakes. But we'll save that for March. Thank you.
Next, we have another wonderful recognition, Life Saving and Company Citation Awards. Fire Chief McGreal and Jacqueline Miller. This is an amazing story. Can you tell, you're going to tell the whole story, right?
I will tell the whole story. Thank you very much, President Horker and board and staff. We're here today to celebrate a life saved, and it's appropriate for the holiday season between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I'm just going to explain what happened. On August 30th, 2022, Red Center, which is the Regional Emergency Dispatch Center, that's our fire dispatch center, they received a 911 call for an unresponsive person. Alarm operator Jacqueline Miller handled the call. Jacqueline's here. Jackie recognized a 48-year-old female patient was in cardiac arrest. and she walked the patient's son through cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR, until first responders arrived. And I was told that your son did CPR for over 8 minutes. And Jackie walked through, stayed on the phone with him. I heard the 911 tape. It's quite touching. And our Wheeling Engine 42 arrived and took over performing CPR, and they defibrillated or shocked the patient, Amy. We have ALS engines, and that means we have advanced life support equipment on our engines. And when the fire engine arrives, because everybody asks, why does an engine go on an ambulance call? Well, it's for staffing and for extra hands and also equipment. So they got there first, and they have the same thing an ambulance has without the cot, so they can't transport. So they arrived, they took over CPR and defibrillated Amy. All 3 of Wheeling's ambulances were on other emergency calls, and they were unavailable. Red Center utilizes a dynamic dispatching, which identifies the closest mutual aid company through the use of AVL, or automatic vehicle locators. So they can see on the screen where the closest ambulance is, and they picked Long Grove Ambulance 55. That's why the Long Grove crew is here, because they assisted in resuscitating Amy. They were up on Lake Cook, so they were the closest. While on scene, 2 crews worked together to bring the patient back, Amy, I'm going to call you Amy, not the patient anymore, back to life. This incident is a shining example that the system works. 3 separate crews that don't train together or even operate under the same emergency medical system. They work together to provide the highest level of care for Amy. Not only is she alive, she's here. I'd like to introduce Amy Flores. Her son Christian couldn't be here, so Amy and I decided she thanked the crews out in front, and we got some pictures, so we're not going to put her on the spot. But we're just glad you're here. So today we're going to recognize the following people. So Christian's going to get a Citizen Life Savings Award, and we have the plaque for him, and we'll give that to you and you take home, because I can't imagine doing CPR on my mom. Red Center operator Jackie Miller with the Life Saving Award. Come on up, Jackie. We're doing unit citation awards to Long Grove Fire Protection District firefighter paramedics Mike McGallagher and Nick McDowell. Please come up. We have company citation awards to Wheeling's own Battalion Chief Mark Menzel. I will say he did not want to be recognized because he's the battalion chief. He showed up to help, later in the process, but I said, you're part of the team, so you're getting recognized. And they needed his muscles to help, move people around. So Battalion Chief Mark Menzel, Lieutenant Jason McCauley, who couldn't be here. He's sick home. He's watching it on TV. Hello, Jason. Firefighter paramedic Jeff Ghoulish and firefighter EMT Joe Dyna. Come on up. Well, we're at it. I'd like to take the time to recognize the Red Center staff is here, along with Director Leanhart. We have Chief Segala from the Long Grove Fire Protection District, and Chief Dyna, who's Joe's dad. He's a proud dad today. And if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. But Amy, we're glad you're here.
It is wonderful when we hear stories about saving lives like this. I mean, the fire departments from all the cities, they go out and they do this kind of work every day. Never normally this unique where a dispatcher has to guide someone through keeping somebody alive until the trained professionals get there. But really, such an amazing example of what all of you guys do, and thank all of you so much for everything you do. Thank you. Citizen concerns and comments. Clerk Brady.
Yes, we have one today. Debbie Acevedo. Members of the public may address the board with comments regarding issues relevant to village business. No citizen shall speak for more than 5 minutes without consent of the board. Members of the general public who wish to address the board must sign the request to speak form prior to the commencement of the public meeting.
And just as a reminder, this is a time for citizens to make comments and express their concerns, and for the board to listen. Neither the board nor staff will be answering questions. Good evening.
Can I go?
Please.
You ready? Boy, this is kind of a tough thing to follow, but anyways, hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Debbie Acevedo. I'm a Wheeling resident, and what I want to talk about this evening is probably irrelevant, being that this time of year is our village is so decorated with holiday cheer and sparkle. I mean, it's certainly beautiful. And I know many people come to town to visit us during this time of year. People take family photos and holiday photos in front of our decorations. I know I do every single year. Now, the irrelevant part is that I want to actually talk about summer. And what I want to ask and see if we may have in our budget is money to replace the flower baskets that hang from our lampposts. Many years ago, and key words here being many years ago, when they were first put up, they were beautiful. But I've really noticed that this past season, they've really become kind of weathered and faded, and so I just don't know if maybe we can like fit that in our budget. Just like we have people come to town, this time of year, summer is no different. We host so many events. The Park District wonderfully hosts a lot of events. We bring a lot of people here. Restaurant Row with newcomers there. The Town Center that has outdoor restaurant seating and events that go on there. Even Uptown 500 is really looking pretty spiffy now. So, I mean, if we can like tie it all in with some new flower baskets, everybody loves flowers, whether they're fake or real, everybody loves flowers, they make you happy. And so that's just what I want to ask, if that might be possible to throw into the mix. And another thing, Wheeling makes a statement, let's face it. People come from all over. I hear people, my friends are saying, oh, you're so lucky to live in Wheeling, and it's so beautiful, and it's really all coming together, so maybe we can tie it together that way. Another thing I want to say, as long as it is that time of year, I just want to wish everybody that's listening and everybody here tonight a really a safe, joyous, healthy holiday season. And in 2022, or actually in the new year, I know there's a few of you that are running for re-election, and y'all have my vote, that's for sure. I just want to thank you all for the wonderful job that you guys do to keep our village running smooth and keeping us looking as beautiful as it does. So thank you all so much. That's just what I want to say to everybody. So I don't know, maybe we can like tie it together with some new flower baskets.
Thank you.
Put it in your notes.
Got it in the note.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for everything.
Thank you, Ms. Acevedo. Anyone else?
Nope, that's it tonight.
Staff reports. Mr. Kaup, we have a catalytic converter event.
Yes, President Horker, members of the board, I just wanted to mention to everybody that the Public Works Department will be hosting, in conjunction with the Cook County Sheriff Tom Dart and Commissioner Scott Britton, will be hosting a catalytic converter marking event on Thursday, December the 8th, 2022, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. at the Public Works facility. It's their event, and we're just offering the facility for them to be able to spray paint with lettering catalytic converters for cars that sign up to help dissuade theft of these devices. Pre-registration for this is required, and to register, residents can go to ccso.communityengagement@ccsheriff.org. If they would like to contact me with my information on the website, I'd be happy to get them to that opportunity to pre-register.
Thank you. It's open to the public, but they have to pre-register?
Correct.
Thank you, sir. Consent agenda. Clerk Brady.
Consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered after all other agenda items. 11A, resolution authorizing the execution of the First Amendment to the service agreement between the Village of Wheeling and Health Inspection Professionals, Inc. for health inspection services in the amount of $150,000 over a 3-year period. 11B, resolution approving a 1-year renewal contract with Clean Cut Tree Services, Inc. for creek and waterway maintenance is in an amount not to exceed $30,000 for fiscal year 2023. 11C, resolution waiving competitive bidding and accepting a proposal from Core and Main for Census Omni registrars and measuring chambers in the amount not to exceed $146,270 in fiscal year 2023. 11D, resolution for maintenance under the Illinois Highway Code, Section 23-00000-00-GM. 11E, resolution to permit construction on state highways to make emergency pavement openings to repair broken water main, sewers, and other village-owned facilities. 11F, resolution approving a second and final 1-year renewal contract with Crystal Maintenance Services Corp. for janitorial services not to exceed $85,270 in fiscal year 2023. 11G, ordinance amending the Wheeling Municipal Code to increase certain fee annually by a rate equivalent to the consumer price index as calculated by the United States Department of Labor or at a maximum rate of 3%. 11H, ordinance amending Chapter 1.26 of the Wheeling Municipal Code regarding village fee and charges.
Thank you, Clerk Brady. On F, I have 85-260. Is there a typo somewhere?
What did I say? I have 85-260.
Awesome. Okay, my ears.
No, it could be me.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Vogel, second Trustee Rufato. Roll call, please.
Trustee Kruger,
Yes.
Trustee Rufato,
Yes.
Trustee Vogel,
Yes.
Trustee Papantos,
Yes.
Trustee Vito,
Yes.
Trustee Lang,
Yes.
President Horker.
Yes, we have no old business. We're up to new business. 13A is a public hearing in the annual budget, and this is all mine. I'm going to call the public hearing to order. This is a public hearing for the public to make comments regarding the 2023 Village of Wheeling annual budget. A public hearing notice was published in the Daily Herald. Each member of the public shall have 5 minutes to make their comments. During this time, staff and the board will not answer questions, and comments should not be repetitive or argumentative. Are there any comments from the public? Once, twice. As there are no comments from the public, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Kruger, second Trustee Rufato. Roll call, please.
Trustee Rufato,
Yes.
Trustee Vogel,
Yes.
Trustee Papantos.
Yes.
Trustee Vito,
Yes.
Trustee Lang,
Yes.
Trustee Kruger,
Yes.
President Horker.
Yes. Item number B.
13B, ordinance granting special use approval for the operation of business maintenance services, 966 Seton Court, Apollo Commercial Maintenance, docket number 2022-42.
Mr. Clicker, what do we got?
Yes, as Clerk Brady stated, this is a special use for Apollo Commercial Maintenance to operate a business maintenance service out of 966 Seton in the I-1 Light Industrial, and this use does require a special use. At the November 16th Plan Commission hearing, the Plan Commission recommended approval of this request.
Questions or comments from the board? No questions or comments? Would need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion trustee Papantos, second trustee Lang. Roll call, please.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, congratulations.
13C, resolution approving a fiscal year 23 budget amendment for Chicago Executive Airport.
Mr. Spondilis, what is this?
Thank you. CEA Director Jeff Miller is here this evening, and he can present the details specific to the budget amendment. This item is on our agenda this evening because per the IGA that we have with Prospect Heights, any budget amendment for the airport needs to come to both governing bodies. So that is why it is here this evening. Director Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Vondelis. President Horker, trustees, thank you for having us tonight. Been here about a year now, and part of my job that I've been tasked with the Board of Directors is doing a deep dive into leases and things across the board that we do here at the airport. One of the things that we've discovered is over time, there are several parcels at the airport that are delinquent in Cook County taxes. When we went through each one of these leases, it took a while to flush out who exactly owed what taxes. Some of these were owed by the tenants themselves, and some of these, depending on how the lease was structured, was directly from the airport. So we asked for the budget amendment to get caught up on these properties. When you look at a macro level, each one of these leases, we are making money even with paying the taxes. It's just not as much money. But this allows us, one, to get caught up to where we need to be with Cook County taxes, and then secondly, when we come for our budget process in April, moving forward, we will look at these adjustments and make sure that we have the proper budget in there for Cook County taxes. Each one of the leases are short to medium range, depending on the time length that's left in them, so we can also take into consideration the rent that we're charging for each one of these locations. But as I stated, each location is making money even with paying the taxes.
Trustee Papantos?
So how many years back have we gone on this?
Each lease is a little bit different, but our oldest would be 2015.
And nobody like threatened to sell these properties for taxes?
Yeah, so, when we started looking at them, one of the properties, 201, which is the automotive location in front of us, those taxes were sold. So we are paying back those delinquent charges. The other ones have not, which would be Hangar 5 and 6 and Hangar 11. But yeah, one of them was and two of them were not.
So if it was sold, then?
Well, the taxes were sold. So we have 12 months. So if this budget amendment is approved, we pay the back taxes, but the property itself is not sold.
Are there penalties involved in this?
Yes. Every month we're assessed 1.5%. So if you look at the collective amount that we're asking, you're probably around $200,000 in delinquent fees. We will work with our legal counsel on that because as we went through and tried to clean up a lot of this, there were things where different iterations, the leases were, they were leased to different people, tax rolls were being sent to different entities. We've squared away where all the tax bills are being sent now to the appropriate parties, but we will work with our legal counsel to see if there's a way to remove some of the fees. But we're asking for the full amount because I think that is a request, but it doesn't mean Cook County will honor us on it.
And then going forward, we're good?
Yes, moving forward, we would be good, and we will budget each year for paying the taxes on these locations. Yeah, I apologize. Something that the board has directed me to go into all of our stuff and making sure that things are up to date. But yes, at this point now, moving forward, our Cook County taxes will be up to date.
Sounds good. Thank you.
No problem.
Trustee Lang?
So my understanding too that we have some potential exemptions from some of these taxes?
Once again, that's a question mark. I think there's different precedents set in the state. Some go against us, some go for us. If you look at like the restaurant in Millennial Park in Chicago, that was deemed by the Supreme Court of Illinois to be exempt, but there's still legal action. And so at this point, kind of our stance moving forward is pay the taxes. If we start a new business, pay the taxes, and not bank on the fact that something is exempt, because there are different statutes that are either in our favor or not in our favor, and it goes to legal counsel.
Yeah, we would be caught up, and if something is exempt, then it's a bonus.
Right, yeah, we would receive a refund from Cook County, but.
Perhaps.
Right.
Any other questions or comments? If there are none, we need a motion.
So moved.
Motion, trustee Vogel, second, trustee Lang, was it? Rufato?
Rufato.
Rufato?
Trustee Lang.
Yes.
Trustee Vito.
Yes.
Trustee Papantos.
Yes.
Trustee Vogel.
Yes.
Trustee Rufato.
Yes.
Trustee Krueger.
Yes.
President Horker.
Yes.
13D, ordinance amending Title IX Vehicle and Traffic of the Village of Wheeling Municipal Code to add a new chapter 9.11 electrical vehicle charging stations to establish regulations concerning electrical vehicle charging stations and the electrical vehicle parking spaces.
Mr. Ferrolo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consistent with the Illinois Vehicle Code, the attached ordinance restricts the parking of non-electric vehicles at electric vehicle charging stations and imposes a 3-hour time limit in certain locations. And currently, the only place a 3-hour time limit would be imposed is at the Village Hall charging station. The penalty for violating this new code provision is a $100 fine and a tow of the offending vehicle. The ordinance regulates both parking at municipally owned charging stations and at privately owned charging stations once more start to appear in the village. There's certain language that protects the village. There's disclaimer language in the ordinance protecting the village in the event of damage caused by a charging station. The ordinance requires permits to be obtained from the village in order to locate charging stations either on village right-of-way or on private property. It also requires signage to be placed at each location, which is going to be necessary before we start to ticket offending vehicles. I can answer any questions to the extent there are any.
Trustee Papantos has a question.
So even if a car, and I'm talking about the charging station here at Village Hall, even if it's an electric vehicle, it must be using the charging station in order to park there?
Yes,
You can't just park because it's an electric vehicle?
The ordinance does say that it must be connected, must be charging.
Because, and when does this go in effect? Because trying to find a parking place tonight was not pleasant.
It'll go into effect within 10 days of tonight.
And we will put signage up telling people, because that spot's taken too.
Let me rephrase that. It will go into effect after we put signage up. We cannot issue tickets until signage is installed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. Are there any other questions? I have a question for Trustee Lang, because he has one. Can these things be towed? I mean...
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't know how they...
Yes, they, preferable on a flatbed, but if you're getting towed, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, anything goes.
Okay.
So
I think it's an extension cord. You need an extension cord.
Oh, it's up to the owner to,
Play nice?
You got 3 hours, let someone else use it. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah, okay.
Is to get a quick charge and then move on. Let someone else use it.
I do want to point out that the 3-hour time limit does not apply to the metro station because cars park there and are generally there all day long. So we do not have a 3-hour time limit there.
Seems fair.
If we have long meetings, I might have to run out.
Just raise your hand.
I charge at home.
Okay. If there are no other actual questions, need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Trustee Papantos, second. Trustee Lang, roll call, please.
Trustee Vito.
Yes.
Trustee Papantos.
Yes.
Trustee Vogel.
Yes.
Trustee Rufato.
Yes.
Trustee Krueger.
Yes.
Trustee Lang.
Yes.
President Horker.
Yes. Item E.
13E, resolution accepting the Restaurant Row Corridor Plan.
Mr. Svondillis, this took a while to get here, huh?
It did take a while to get here, and that is a good thing.
Yes.
So this evening, there is a presentation by our consultants, the Lakota Group, who will be presenting the efforts of well over a year's worth of work, not just by them or staff or the electeds or the steering committees, but also by the public at large and our business community. This effort began quite a while ago when the board dedicated monies in recognition of the value that we all know exists in Restaurant Row as part of our history, and wanting to make sure that we are able to appropriately preserve it as times change. And I think you will see tonight that we have created an excellent plan moving forward, and an important footnote to that is that this is not just a paper plan. This is, while it's a living, fluid document, we've already started taking action on some of the items that you're going to see presented tonight. It does relate directly to multiple facets of our strategic plan, but this is a guiding document that we will use to make decisions about development, not just on Restaurant Row, but in all of Wheeling. And it does work hand in hand with our master plan and our strategic plan. I think this is the result of great effort, and I think something that we should be very proud of. So with that, if you would, Kevin, I will dim the lights.
Thank you, John, and thank you for giving me the chance to talk about this tonight. We're really excited about it. And I gotta say, your Christmas and holiday decorations are unbelievable. As we came to town, I was like, wow, it's really nice. So, and the boardroom looks great too. Sets a nice tone. Tonight, just want to talk a little bit about our plan. It's the framework, right, of the plan, not every page. You know, we can't go through every page of a 100-something page document, but just want to talk about how we've organized it, what the process was like, and the plan itself, some of those kind of key highlights, some of the key recommendations, and ultimately implementation. As John mentioned, the plan is only as good as you can implement, and we've already started to do some things. You guys have already started, and that's really exciting to us. So again, my name is Kevin Clark. I'm a principal with the Lakota Group. I'm joined by Hannah Bader, a project manager with us, and Alexis Stein. They poured their blood, sweat, and tears into this, and it's been a great process for us. Just a quick overview of what our process was. That first phase is what we call engage and discover. That's where we get out there and get our eyes on it, but also talk to folks. We had focus groups and stuff. We'll talk about that a little bit, but trying to understand what's going on. What are the conditions? What's happening? And then hearing what the issues and opportunities are from a broad range of stakeholders. And the second phase is what we call envision and explore. That's where we come up with ideas, which many of you saw those ideas. We brought them to the board for various elements of the physical nature of the corridor and things that we can improve upon out of the stuff that we heard. We brought it to workshops, we got feedback, and from there we're able to refine, and now we're in that third step, or the end of the third step, the implement step, where we've put together a final plan. We've gone back to our steering committee, we've refined that once more, and we're bringing it to you for consideration tonight. And then more action keeps going with John and Ross and staff as we move forward on the plan recommendations. Just a summary of the engagement in this process. We started about a year ago, 12 sessions of stakeholder interviews, talking to various folks, obviously village leaders, but business owners, residents, property owners, IDOT, all of the folks that our stakeholders are important to hear. And this was happening during COVID, but people, we were able to do that. We were able to get people to come on, and that helps to be able to, that people are flexible and able to do that. We had an open house also during the middle of COVID, 270 participants, if you include the follow-up survey that we had on our project website. which was really good. And just with our visual preference surveys and all of the stuff that we were asking, people were really engaged in providing feedback. And as you'll see, the plan wasn't just ours, it was ideas that we came up with based on what people told us and really shaped by the people that would live here. And I think that's really important to drive home. We also had a survey response of a pop-up survey of 340 responses, just giving us more input on ideas and things that we can, out of our concepts that people can weigh in on. And in the second open house, we had 80 participants in this room. A lot of great dialogue and conversation, very positive by and large, but really able to talk to people. We were here facilitating those discussions and just able to have face-to-face discussions about what we're trying to accomplish and what people thought was important. And those are conversations that help as you move forward and as you implement the plan. I just want to go through the plan as we developed kind of the overall goal and guiding objectives, and that was to build a dynamic vision for Milwaukee Avenue that emphasizes connectivity, placemaking, and revitalization to support and improve the Restaurant Row brand. And this was about revitalization. You guys have a known brand, but everybody recognized that we needed to move forward. What's the next step? What's the next iteration in making that happen? And so at the very beginning, we identified those objectives as enhancing buildings and public spaces, improving access to the river, strengthening the quality of life, and creating a distinct identity. And so part of this was creating a brand out of the process that you could use in banners and gateways and signage and the way that you talk about it on Instagram and project websites or your village website. So really pushing that forward and freshening up the way that it's talked about and communicated and portrayed. As we started to think about developing a framework for this pretty long stretch of this corridor, we developed an urban design and development framework, and that included streetscape improvements, mobility improvements, so things like crossings and intersections. You'll hear us talk about parking lot screening, the things that over time, maybe just urban design things that need to happen to make it feel better and be safer, and the aesthetic aspect of it, such as screening parking. Really important. Finding those development opportunity sites, and we came to you before with, we identified all of those along the corridor that we thought were really important, where you had a higher and better use. Something better can happen, whether it's a vacant lot, a parking lot, something that's not in great condition. Hey, there might be some better complementary use that's going to make this corridor stronger and make the village stronger. So we showed ideas for those. Corridor branding, as we talked about, thinking about how we can brand the corridor and really refresh what that feels like and how we're talking about it. And then those open space opportunities, which became a huge element of this, as we found out after we got in the process. The open space element of this was really, really important to people. So in the plan, this is just an example, a segment. We broke the corridor up into segments so that people can see what we're talking about and we can communicate the ideas. This is just a segment of the urban design framework where we highlighted where specifically we think things need to change or be enhanced, whether it's the red things like mobility enhancements at key intersections or mid-block crossings, the idea of all those purple boxes, which are the opportunity sites that we saw as redevelopment or development opportunities, and we showed concepts for how those can play out, and ultimately going back to design principles to make it happen. So there's some key elements of those concepts we did that we think are really important. The streetscape improvements, identifying where we think we need street trees, pedestrian lighting, planters, things that address what others were talking about earlier in this meeting, thinking cohesively about how to bring it all together, because it really needs a refresh. And the thing that I've been saying all along is all the new stuff that has happened here is great, high quality, and now we need to go back to Milwaukee Avenue and make it that same feel. That feel of Wheeling, that high quality character that really feels like you're in a place, right? So we've just identified those things in the plan, in these segments, and this is just an example of one. And then as we look at the overall corridor from north to south, the development opportunity sites, and we established principles, as I said, for the development. So we showed how it could look, but breaking it down for people, because we know as a developer comes in, it's not always going to look the exact same as what we drew. But what are those things? Respecting and relating to buildings, surrounding buildings and uses in that context, improving pedestrian experience, connectivity with the street and trail network, providing additional landscaping and streetscape improvements that beautify the corridor, and really relating in certain cases to the Des Plaines River, the Forest Preserve where feasible. So some of those sites, depending on where they were really key to providing that access point to the river and providing that quality of life that we're all looking for. And in the plan, we have these call-out boxes, what we heard. So really thinking, all the little blue box at the bottom, thinking about what people told us and showing how that is living in the plan itself. Just an example concept of one of the big ideas that came out of this, which we came upon really early on when we talked to folks, is focusing on property that you guys control to achieve a lot of your goals of making this a place that people visit, making this that great place that people want to come to from all over, and creating that destination. So the idea of this property that you own becoming kind of the village, almost like a village space that's the heart of Restaurant Row, with event spaces and gardens and almost that idea that you can connect along the forest preserve and the river property, all from north to south on the side, and all of those elements. And then on the south part of it, having the opportunity to partner with somebody in the private world that can bring an entertainment use, that can bring some kind of activity to the space. And this idea, we had a food hall, was an example of, hey, here's something that would be great to energize the space, bring people to it. There's a parking lot on the south end, but really working it in with that and all the outdoor spaces that go with that. So just this idea of one of the concepts that we had in the plan, and we could talk about in more detail. As we go through the recommendations, and I'm not going to read all of this, but just how we framed it in the plan, recommendation, invest in streetscape and mobility. So we broke that down into strategies so that we can act upon those. So each one of these recommendations has strategies associated with it that we can link to an implementation chart at the end, which Hannah will talk about, so that we're really organizing the plan from big goal and objective to recommendations to strategies and actions that can happen, be taken forward by staff or others as we move forward. The second recommendation is adopting that Restaurant Row brand, providing branded wayfinding and signage. We have the brand. We showed a bunch of ideas and people gave us this great, this is our preferred brand. Now it's a matter of extending that and taking that out into the physical world through wayfinding and gateways, and we showed where those can go on a map. This is the map on the side of where we think you could have great signage, and then also in all of those other ways that you communicate about Restaurant Row to get the word out. Recommendation 3 was providing open space opportunities. We talked about the big one, but there are all these other spots that we found, Wolf in Milwaukee, open space, Krause Lane in Milwaukee, just places that people want to be. And that connect east-west, either to the river or to uses that are active like restaurants or other businesses. Just really important when you go up and down the corridor. We want to really maximize the value of the corridor by enhancing these spaces. The fourth recommendation was making Restaurant Row a destination. And I would say in parentheses again, it always has been. I didn't grow up around here. I feel like half of our staff, including our president, he grew up in Northbrook. The other guy grew up in Buffalo Grove. And everybody came here for prom, and they all talked about Restaurant Row, and I got into this project, and I'm like, I don't know it. But once I got into it, I realized what a great community and what a great opportunity. And so now it's kind of refreshing that. And to me, it's like, what's that next iteration? So this idea of bringing a great public space and inviting people back only enhances the businesses, only enhances your community, brings people in, brings money in, brings activity. And those are the things ultimately that this was the impetus of the entire project. And this fifth recommendation is encouraging appropriate infill development and redevelopment. When we got into it, I didn't really think about development or redevelopment necessarily. We're always looking for, what's going to make a corridor better? What's going to make this place better? And that I quickly found that when we started going through, it was like, wow, we really need to think about some of these sites. They need a refresh. And that really holds up the brand. And so to me, it was like showing, when we showed all those concepts, that was why we did that. We got into that and we're like, hey, really, this is a big part of it. So showing the ideas about what that use could be, whether it's a complementary use like a mixed-use building that has residential in it, or if it's a smaller site that would be good for commercial or a restaurant. So just making sure we had the complementary uses that are going to really activate the corridor and help it sustain over time. With that, I'm going to let Hannah talk about the last piece of our report, the implementation chapters and charts, and then we can answer any questions or have a discussion. So thank you.
Hi, thank you for having us. I'm Hannah Bader. I'm a project manager with the Lakota Group. So I'm just going to quickly walk us through the implementation section. This is the final chapter of the plan, and this is really the key piece of kind of creating a roadmap for bringing this plan forward. Really breaking it down into 3 charts that can allow us to quickly look at all the information that you need. So the first one that we'll walk you through is the implementation matrix. And this is just a snapshot of one of the pieces of the implementation matrix, and really just to show you how you can use this as a tool moving forward. So all of the strategies are organized under recommendation, and this is really an opportunity for us to call out the priority level of these different strategies, ranking them from high to mid to low priority, and then also just showing you who can be involved in this process and who can move these forward. So in the ownership column, we kind of map out who can support the staff and who can support the board in order to make these happen. And the really powerful thing about this tool is that the staff can use this moving forward. This should be reviewed on an annual basis. It can be updated. As John had mentioned, you have some of these that are moving forward, and one of the most exciting pieces is getting to cross some of these off to recognize that we're reaching the overall goal of this plan. And then you'll see that we have the cost and the funding also outlined. And we'll talk about this further. We also have some supporting funding programs and funding information that can help move these forward. But this just gives you a quick glimpse of what the cost estimates are to achieve some of these things, so that when you're pulling together grants or just budgeting for future implementation, you can set aside money to actually move these forward. And then the last piece of this is just really looking at the timeline. Some of these actions can happen in the next year. Some are going to take 10+ years. So this kind of just gives you a really quick breakdown. Some of the things are lower priority, but it can happen in 1 year. And do we want to achieve these things? So this is just a quick way for you guys to have a tool now to move the plan forward. The next plan that we have is the funding plan. And this, again, organizes all of the strategies into different funding sources. One of the things we learned about funding, and I'm sure you guys know with different grants, is it's kind of a puzzle, and a lot of these can fall together. But this was the Metro Strategies first pass and recommendation for some of the funding sources that you can use to achieve this. And the way this is set out is we have them organized by the strategies, and you can see the different elements that can fall into these grants. And then it really goes into which phases of the plan too, because some of the funding you can use happens with the design, while others go directly to the construction of these plans. So they tried to create a really clear roadmap of how you can use the funding and where you can use them. And then the last column just really shows the coordination, who's going to need to support you in order to implement this, whether it be IDOT or whether it be Chamber of Commerce, and who can help move it forward. And then the last piece is the program summary. So this really just gives you an overview of the funding programs they have. And this is kind of like a directory to those funding sources, so it's going to give you a full description of them, how to apply, and really the key piece is this eligible corridor elements and strategies, where our subs Metro Strategies gave us tips and tricks to apply for these grants, so you know what to include, what pieces to use so that you are higher in eligibility to receive the funding. And then the last piece of the implementation chapter is just this checklist. So this is, you've been given this plan, you've been given these charts, but really, how do we break it down to a step-by-step to get this done? And I think the most important piece and the first piece, which your staff already has and is working towards, but is the restaurant row corridor internal working group. You're gonna need someone who's gonna continue this forward, be the champion of this plan and moving the different improvements forward. And then from there, these are just some tips that you can use to get there, whether it be starting to create project fact sheets so that you know which programs you're going to be moving towards, starting to contact people and getting letters of support so that you know that the community is behind this, and then really allocating the funds and setting aside funds both for your own budget as well as grants you want to go after. So this is kind of the checklist you can use moving forward as you decide which pieces of the plan to implement. So if you guys have any questions, we're open for that now. So thank you.
Shakes and nods. A coordinator, that would be, I mean, when we eventually get an economic development director again?
Mm-hmm.
Not that Ross is not capable, but,
He's got his hands full, I assume?
well, he's doing a couple departments.
Mm-hmm.
One is the just say no department, and the other one is just say yes department. So, Trustee Vogel?
Yeah, in going through this, you talked a lot about pedestrian traffic and walking. What about parking itself? In your plan, you've mentioned parking, but as a low priority. Don't you see a need to have?
Yeah, I mean, generally, the parking is taken care of by the business owners on their property. To me, it's usually that's a zoning or a code issue if you have to have a certain number of spaces per that type of use.
Well, no, I'm not talking about the owners. You talked about open space and
If you
different
wanted
places.
to get people to open space or
Do you
like
think-
as part of that open space component? Yeah, like you'll see like in that example that we showed the concept for the big open space, we had a parking lot knowing that that was going to be a place that people would drive to and you would want to attract people to that place from other villages or the city even. So we included that as part of that plan.
John, tell me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that, and that parking lot that showed up on one of these pictures, wasn't that in the area where we were not allowed to?
No, you are correct that there is an area that cannot be developed. That is where you saw the water site and some of the gardens.
Yeah.
However, the village has 2 pad-ready sites just to the south of that area, and that's where the thought is that we would implement some sort of restaurant use, parking lots, all that.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Vogel. Nobody else?
Like it.
Like it? Oh, okay, that's good. So we do need a motion to approve the plan and incorporate it into our
Everything.
being.
So moved.
What, Trustee Krueger? Motion, Trustee Lang, second, Trustee Papantos. Roll call, please.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, and thank you, everyone, for all the time you put into this. This is
Great plan.
Outstanding.
Thanks. I think you've exhibited great leadership here, and your steering committee was well put together and gave us great feedback, so I really appreciate that.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
put that next to the comp plan. Awesome. Official communications. Trustee Papantos?
Thank you. I just want to thank the Lakota group for putting this together because it was a long year and struggling through COVID and not COVID and Zoom meetings and everything else. But I think the most important thing you did is listen to the businesses and the residents of Wheeling and say, what is it they really want? Because, you know, people can sit up here and pretend we know what everybody wants, but you have to hear from them. And so thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. There is nothing else. We do have the bills for November 17th through the 30th of 2022. I need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Trustee Papantos, second.
Second.
Trustee Kruger, roll call, please.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, we have an executive session this evening for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of a specific employee or employees of the village. That being the case, I need a motion to recess into executive session and adjourn the regular meeting.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Rufato, second, Trustee Kruger. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, recess. I would like to call the executive session to order at 7:30. Take 5 minutes.
Are we doing it here or in the?
We'll do it here. It's nice to throw everybody out.
Thanks for coming.